and what a lot of these people were talking about, they're not recognizing that they are a monster, and so they're doing monstrous things, because when you do recognize you're a monster and then have a channel for that energy, a sword that you can do something with, then that's the proper usage of that.
Bravo, guy. Bravo.
Oh my God.
This is wild.
Amigos just found his new role model.
Inspirational, man.
Is this going to be like the suicide episode?
Big hormone enneagram.
I'm John Alexandra, 415, sexual self-pres, 458 trifix.
I'm David Gray, self-pres sexual, 9 with 1 wing, 974 trifix.
What up? It's Emeka. I'm an 8-wing 7, sexual self-pres with 854 fixes.
Hi, I'm Alexandra. I'm a social self-preservation 9-wing 1, 963 trifix.
Like and subscribe on Apple and Spotify, and leave us a review. If you want to support the show with a donation, you can find us on Venmo at Big Hormone and paypal.me/Big Hormone. I was thinking of trying out different formats. I'm sure there's lots of pods that you listen to where they just go through a bunch of different topics. They'll jump from like one news story to the next, just like a shoot the shit. Everybody comes in with their own, hey, this is an interesting I heard about, and maybe there's an Enneagram angle to it, or just like a dumb question that we saw on one of the forums, but like a round robin sort of thing that we jump around.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think one thing we should put out there, I don't know if we can actually make this happen, but like that Stavros podcast? Stavros, that fat comedian?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, he's very funny, but he has like a podcast that people call in just for advice, and they like share these like absolute insane dirtbag stories. And he actually like, he always has guest comedians on, and they're always just like idiots. But like this Stavros is actually like, gives pretty intelligent, like he's like pretty sensitive kind of stuff. But it's like kind of funny and kind of ridiculous, but kind of sincere. I felt like if people felt they wanted to call in about like advice stuff instead of just like Enneagram questions, like that might be more interesting or personal than just like, what do you think about an 8 that has a 2 stone or something,
Well, it's also
like
just like pretty limited. There's only so many of these theory questions that you can answer before you just start repeating yourself. So like I've seen those shows that you're talking about. Like a lot of podcasts are doing that now, where people just call in and they give their story, or they ask for help, or whatever it is. I mean, I don't think we'll be able to get anyone who wants to call in live. But we haven't really been getting any love lines lately, but maybe if we told people that that's what we're doing, maybe they'll do it.
Yeah, and especially since we got 200 pods coming up.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It's probably not going to happen till January, February, but yeah, we should start gearing up.
Where are we at?
193. 193. Cool. All right. What do we feel like today? You missed this. I told John that
whatever. Oh yeah, tell me.
I told John that a format that we could try is like a round robin. I mean, you've seen or heard podcasts that do this, where they'll run through different stories, different topics, and they'll just hit them for however long, and they'll move on to the next topic. So
that sounds fun to me.
We could do one where it's like either news stories or dumb questions. Just we do it anyway, but just like more focused with like, all right, we're gonna try to find an Enneagram angle here, and then jump around. That's an idea. If that's the vibe, just
Yeah, I mean, I like it. It kind of brings in a kind of conversational aspect where we're just kind of hanging out and happen to be talking about the Enneagram at the same time, instead of like trying to teach people all the time.
Right. Because that can get tough, because trying to come up with new material all the time, or talk about the same material, it's easier just to sort of talk about life and then find the Enneagram pieces in it.
Yeah, I agree.
But I've got a few stories.
I'm super down.
I've got a few interesting stories that throw in a mix.
Yeah, what have you got?
Sounds great.
Let's hear it. Like personal stories? Or are you talking about like
No. Just like,
news?
random stuff that I find online.
Oh.
Yeah, right. Well, I gotta find the information, but like the one that I found recently, it's a story about this government official in Papua New Guinea, Africa. And it's wild because this guy apparently just fucked a lot of women, and they consented to doing this, of course, and it was all recorded. They wanted to be recorded. But the problem is the women that he fucked were just like, his friends' wives, like government officials' wives, and like his sister's friends, like everybody within a fucking 1 mile radius of this dude is getting dicked down by this guy, and he's recording all of it. Yeah, and they discovered this big scandal because they discovered all these sex tapes, and all these sex tapes are getting uploaded online, and so it's a big scandal that dude was fucking. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm just following the story because there's like, it's not like P. Diddy or anything, but like the scandal of people are like, oh, he fucked this person's friend, he fucked the pastor's wife, he fucked the pastor's daughter, he's fucking everybody. And people are just sort of outraged, and I'm just like, loving it.
There's a massive X-rated tape scandal involving prominent people in equatorial Guinea. Investigators reportedly found at least 400 explicit videos that purportedly shows the president's sister, the wives of cabinet ministers, and the wife of the police chief in intimate situations. The footage was uncovered by investigators probing Baltasar Ebangs A Lot.
He's not like super handsome or anything.
That's the guy?
For finances, who was suspected of fraud. Some media reporting that the videos were recorded with the consent of the people featured in them. The videos have sparked public outrage, and equatorial Guinea leaders are warning that those responsible will be disciplined. In a statement on X, the Vice President Teodoro Nguema said that such activities in the administrative workplaces are strictly banned.
Okay, so he was fucking all these women in the office, so like at work, on the table, with the like his favorite positions were on the table or on. So he's just like all these videos of him dicking down the wives of government officials or police chiefs, just like everybody. But the thing that's interesting to me is that this wasn't like, how is this happening? Like, people are in, like, I mean, a lot of women aren't happy in their relationships, and it seems like a lot of word was getting out, and he was getting a lot of women coming back or wanting to do this with them. Like, I watched some of the sex tapes, and I was like, okay, he knows what he's doing. Like, they're really enjoying themselves here. Okay. He really enjoys fucking and pleasure, and they're obviously having a great time. And I could see how he was very popular. I'm sure, like, on the DL, women were like, this dude is fucking.
Let me try. Yeah.
Let me try.
Yeah. All right. So is the leak of these videos his leak, or somebody hacked him or something?
They were investigating him for fraud. And in their investigation, they found 400 sex tapes. And a lot of it repeat. And the women, a lot of them, you can tell that they know they're being recorded and they're loving it. These are like wives or, girlfriends or daughters and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I was curious from the point of view of like, okay, what kind of fucking are you doing?
Oh my God.
So I went and watched. I was like, all right, yeah, I see why you were getting a lot of repeat business. Doing some fucking.
Okay, so the same women were like coming back to him.
Oh yeah. Like he's like, some people don't really enjoy sex. Like, he really enjoys it, and he wants to make sure that she enjoys it, which you don't really see that much, especially
that's true.
Yeah, and so he's like, I'm sure like a lot of these women maybe aren't enjoying sex in their marriages, and so a guy who's like really prioritizing pleasure and really into it is. Yeah.
How do you think he got them. You know, like he's
that's
not
the other
like
thing. He's not like a handsome
guy.
guy, but he's a rich official. Having a government position and being a multimillionaire, you're a multimillionaire if you're in a position like that. So you're already going to get, it's like a CEO of some company
status,
or something.
Yeah,
like you have status. He was already going to have play just for that reason alone. I'm sure most officials are fucking, but like the amount means, this is either he has game or he's really good at fucking words getting out.
He's probably got good flirtation game.
He's probably got great game.
That's what I mean. Is like, is it DMs, on social media?
No.
Like
It's
meetings with people, and
he works with a lot of women. So like that's like Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton's very charismatic, kind of guy who's regardless of whether he's in office or not, he's gonna get play because he has good game or he can talk. So I'm assuming it's like that, but they're investigating, and a lot of people are mad. And I saw one of the clips of they were questioning him about it. And he's like, these women are coming to me because they're really enjoying it and they consented to being recorded. So like, nobody even cares about the fraud. Everybody's up in arms about the sex.
We've had something way juicier than fraud. Who cares about fraud? Nobody
The funny thing to me is like the sex tapes are out and you can watch the women. Everyone's crazy. Like, they're having a great time. Like they're like, they're being recorded and they're just like coming and what do you? And people are mad.
Not like he's, it's not whatever coerced or abusive.
No.
Yeah, he's just good at what he does, I guess.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Something that comes to mind with that is that he's probably, like David said, he's probably great, like a great flirt, probably got great, probably very attentive, and probably in a very kind of like subtle, quick way where he can like drop little seeds at like the water cooler or something like little plantings or whatever. And then the other end is he seems, if it's like wives and daughters and past, all these people that are not supposed to be like engaging in that kind of behavior or whatever.
Right.
There seems to be, they must be picking up on I'm safe to do this with you. Like you're evolved.
Yes.
This isn't going to come out. Like you're not trying to steal me from my position. This is going to be like an enclosed, safe thing. And so whatever, like he's willing to be not only a vault, but like a fantasy object because it can't totally just be that he's like that great at laying it down. No. He's got to be like really good at creating the fantasy for these women so that they can just project like crazy onto him. And that's what's making him so effective.
He also looks like a 9.
Just
that's
his very
photos,
possible.
like he's just real chill. And I bet that like the unassuming, smooth, cream boy.
I can't relate to any of this.
God, I was waiting for David. Waiting for David to compete with this guy somehow.
What was interesting to me about it though is I'm like his game has to be good enough where he's done this enough where it didn't blow up in his face. Like you've been, like you getting people to consent and be into not only having sex with you but being recorded. Just watching him. I was like, he's really into it and he's also just talking to her through it. Like he's like, this is somebody who has really good game. Like he has really.
That's part of the 9 thing of it as well, is there's a thing with 9s, public officials even, where you can't quite pin the blame on them or accuse them in a way that sticks because of that amorphous 9 energy in a certain way.
He's married with 5 kids, and so to keep this sexual life separate and alluring, and people are, they're wanting to come back and do it with you. Like everybody's got their marriages, but like it's just enclosed pleasure is like actually really impressive to me. I was wow, like this is not like people are they're into it and they're coming back and they want to be recorded, which means like you're great at not just the seduction but also the sex, and like she's really, and I'm watching it and she's really into it. She's coming and she's like, and they're talking and I'm like, Bravo, guy. Bravo.
Oh my God.
This is wild.
Amigos just found his new role model.
Inspirational, man.
Is this going to be like the suicide episode?
Just giving sexual pleasure to the world, like man. He's like changing these women's lives with his dick.
Go that far.
He's healing them. He's healing them.
I searched his name and found a Reddit thread on him, and I don't know how true any of this stuff is because it's on Reddit, but it says they were all on his work computer, which is crazy. And then it says, even worse, one of these women was his brother's wife. Another was his best friend's wife. Another was a
not bravo
was a girl a girl who was his daughter's best friend.
Yeah, I heard that one.
God,
yeah.
This crazy.
Yeah, this is like 9 when 9 goes really bad. Like just where there's no boundaries.
No boundaries at all. Yeah. I'm just surprised it took them this long for it to blow up in his face. I was like, wow, you were doing all this? I mean, 400 sex tapes. That means that's not even all that he did. That's the ones that he recorded. So he's been doing this for this long.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
I mean, even for someone in that position, these guys are fucking, but like that's ridiculous.
That's crazy. So how did these get out again? Because he didn't leak. He was
being investigated for fraud.
Okay.
And in their investigation, they found the sex tapes.
Okay, but then how did they get? Like, how did you get to watch these? I'm not asking because I want to see them.
I don't know. I guess they're in the depots. I don't know how, but I'm sure some investigators. It's not like the U.S. where they have lockdown on evidence.
Yeah,
I'm sure the Diddy tapes aren't going to come out anytime soon. But just imagine,
sure.
If this was happening in a third world country, the Diddy tapes would be leaked. We would. Okay.
Oh God, yikes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I'm thinking about him reputationally too, and maybe it's just because I don't know the story, and you're putting so much positivity on this guy. You're
angle.
Really painting him out to be like a sexual hero.
I mean, you could you could look at it that way. Somebody was getting off on a regular basis, and that's a great thing.
Yeah, but I like. Here's where I'm going with it. Is like it seems like. If these videos would never have gotten leaked, like I don't know if I want to commit to what I'm about to say, but like his reputation would have been fine. Like there's a certain way that everybody knew. Obviously, all of these women know what they're engaging with. They know the type of person he is, and it seems like everybody. I don't know the story, but it seems like everybody was fine with it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't.
No, he's ruined.
There's a bunch of like jilted women because anyway, that's kind of
no, his career is done. Like he's not going to be able to be official. He might do jail time. Sure. So this is career ending kind of stuff. So it's terrible in that sense. I suppose I'm just looking at one aspect of it, completely unattached to everything else. But this is horrible, obviously for him.
Yes.
His life is over essentially, and for the people that were involved, like their relationships are fucked up now because there's video footage of them getting down with this guy, so it's pretty crazy. Terrible. But
so, all right, I have a list of alleged relationships of this guy. One is the wife of the director of presidential security. One is the presidential general's wife. The daughter of the director general of police. The wife of his pastor's little brother.
Wow.
Oh my God.
His godfather's wife.
Jesus.
His security guard's wife.
Everybody's wife.
15 friends of his younger sister.
Wow.
15.
That's ridiculous.
Pastor's wife. The wives of several ministers. His brother's wife and his uncle's pregnant wife.
Oh my God.
On steroids.
Okay.
Steroids. That's ridiculous.
Oh, that's a problem. He's a problem, probably.
Well, we can talk about it talking in his favor, though, is where Emiko's going.
Hey, I mean, there's multiple angles on this. There's this uninhibited, I don't know if he has sexual or not, but just like that's elite level of game, my friend.
Well, I mean, yeah, we could say that. Yeah.
My thing, I'm like kind of blown away by is this guy is just the most average looking dude I've ever seen.
You know his game must be immaculate because he's not beautiful.
Is he ugly?
He's not ugly, but he's
okay.
Just
That's
average.
enough then.
Yeah, he's just an average looking guy. But then again, guys don't need to be pretty. We know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about making a woman feel like important and seen and hot,
Yeah.
half the time.
I mean, because I was just thinking, yeah, a government official with lots of access to people could do this, but there's a lot more going on here because he's fucking everybody. Seems like every single woman he comes in contact with is part of the list. I'm like, okay, this is.
Well, you got to look at the pictures of him where he's wearing shades. That's
yeah.
that's the whole thing.
Oh yeah,
he does have style.
Than I thought.
I'll say that.
It's interesting to me that like it didn't blow up in some way because I mean I'm sure there were like hurt feelings and stuff like this, but it seemed like doesn't seem like anybody's like wanting a relationship with him, and it's getting confused like that. It's like they're all almost all married, and they're just like he is their link. I mean, that's what's kind of interesting is like he found that hook or found that angle.
Well, yeah, it's like for whatever reason, this guy has some kind of sexual charisma, and that sexual charisma in the sense that before the act, there must be something about him that conveys that I'm going to have good sex with this guy. Something about maybe the way he's communicating or whatever it is. And it seems like everyone who I've seen, at least in the sex tapes, is there for sexual pleasure. They know that they're there for sexual pleasure. From that point of view, I think it's got to be word got out. Like people know. This isn't just because of his status. He's not that good looking.
Right.
He's just like I mean, it's like he's also playing for the camera. Like he knows he's good. Like he knows it's not just like performing necessarily, but like he's like in the moment and they're having a good time. So I was impressed from that standpoint. It's like this is not just like someone getting a notch. Like I just want to fuck as many women as possible. This is someone who like really enjoys sex. You don't see that very
crazy.
often.
Right.
You don't see. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect to see that.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, I bet his charisma is probably off the charts. Like, sure, maybe it's probably like women talking to each other through the grapevine, but I don't know if it's totally that because that's not totally in the behavior of women.
No, if he didn't have the goods when in person, then it wouldn't.
Yeah, like it's got to be like charm and kind of some flirty vibe, making women feel very like
turned on,
chosen. Yeah,
yeah. Like that's what's the thing that I, like you watch people fuck sometimes and it's like they're just going through it, but like they're turned on. Yeah, you don't see that very much. They're turned on, and I'm like, good for you, man.
Well, good for him. Sorry for your job.
Good for them, but it's like, yeah, your life is ruined, but like, wow, like you have all these great sexual moments,
Did you read this one article about on X, Nigerian man analyzes the sex tapes and this whole thing?
Oh my God.
that Nigerian man is
another
me.
podcast.
Yeah, send me the link for that. That's there's just been so much scandal. It's been like one of the most interesting stories I've seen in a while. So
that Nigerian man is me. The quote of this whole year. It's just so Emeka thing to say. It's just like, yeah, I'm the Nigerian man analyzing the sex tapes and giving it an A++. Excellent job.
There you go. I threw it into our chat.
Oh man. But yeah, that's sexual instinct story of the week, of the month.
I wish he had a video, or not that video, but like a video where he's talking. There's plenty of it. Yeah.
No, that's what I'm looking for is like an interview just to get a vibe.
Yeah. I saw an interview where he was answering questions. Let me see if I can find it.
I think this Nigerian man is not Emeka. Because he's definitely moralizing.
Well, that's what everybody's doing, which is boring. It's also one of these funny things to me where that I think some people might think, oh, if something like this happens, nobody's going to mess around with him. No, I think the opposite, actually.
Wait, say that. Start that sentence again.
You know, some people might imagine, oh, he got exposed. None of these women are going to want to fuck with him anymore. Like, this is like, even if he, like, you know, like, this is terrible for him. I actually feel the opposite, because
it's kind of like the serial killer syndrome.
Well, not even because of the fame. I mean, because there's actually real pleasure going on. Like, if you watch any of those tapes and you're a woman, you'll be like,
I want what she's having.
I want what she's having. Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's
great. It's great advertising is what I think is going on. I'm completely like discounting any sort of morality reaction to this.
Well, I don't think it's even a morality reaction. I think like if it gets out, the way that this could, well, I mean, there's a lot of ways this could hurt him on like a sexual level, but I think a lot of it is going to be women feeling like, what the fuck? I thought I was like special. No, I thought it was going to be like, oh, he's giving this energy to everybody. Like, I'm not actually you know, it's going to be kind of that thing. I think it could hurt his. I think that's what can hurt him. Because I bet these people didn't know that it was like 400 other people also.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like, I bet that's half of his game, is making people feel like super like seduced and like, I'm super fucking into you. Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, I just can't get over the averageness. Just like I just
that makes it even more epic to me. Like, if he was handsome, it's like, okay. No, like, he's average, which means his game is immaculate. That's what that means. That's what that means. But you know, I think we underestimate, because being a government official in Africa is like, that's, you know, in terms of money, status, importance, it's like being a pastor or something. Like, it's a very important position. So that alone would give you access to women, but not to this extent. Like, this is a whole nother level. It's just like, you don't really hear about this.
He had a good run.
Yeah, he had a good run. You don't really hear about this in African countries or whatever. Like, it's very conservative sexually. And so this guy
that's what I thought.
Is a standout. Like, this is some, I'm really impressed to see this coming out. This is crazy work, my man.
Yeah, can you say more about the sexual conservatism?
Yeah, because African culture is, I mean, I don't want to say it's, well, you know, just imagine how a small town is conservative. Like, African culture is still in that sort of SBSO, everybody knows everyone culture, and very traditional in the sense that if you're getting sexually involved with someone, it's your wife. Like, and dating doesn't really exist. Like, you show up and meet the parents, and then you're going to be the husband or wife to be. There's no PDA or any of that. And so, you know, slanging dick is a huge scandal. That's a big, like, there is no fucking hookup culture in African culture at all. Like, I even going to the school dance when I was in high school, having a girlfriend, it was inconceivable. I had a girlfriend for like 9 months. For 9 months, and then my dad found out and made me break up with her.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So very conservative sexually.
In that context, like, is the fear that you're gonna be sexual with her, is that why you needed to break up in your dad's eyes? Or,
well, I mean, I was 15 at the time.
It needs to be leading to marriage, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, what are you doing? Like, from his point of view, like, why are teenagers dating? What's that going to lead to?
Because they're not going to get married, right?
Yeah, if you're not getting married and starting a family. Like, it's very self-pressed social arranged marriages. Not to say that they do that, but sort of conservative families, children. And so from that point of view, pleasure is really discounted. I don't want to say people aren't having fun, but like, it's very conservative and, you know, patriarchal in that sense, where it's just a function. And so that's what I expected to see. I expected to see just this guy just you know, just wanting to fuck a lot. But so you don't really see like a real kind of alluring sexual instinct, sort of like, I want my partner to be turned on and I'm doing this because it's pleasurable And I think this is the scandal is sort of the reaction to, you might say, to people might react to sexual instinct in that culture, in the sense that like you're not just fucking a bunch of people because like they're obviously having a good time, and that I think would be the more upsetting thing, because if you're a husband and you were to see your wife like having the time of her life, it's not like she's a victim or anything, but they're both having a good time, and she went back multiple times. So that sense of being turned on by your partner in a culture where the very sexual blind sort of culture where people get together to make families and have kids, and there's no sense of like, I'm turned on by my partner. That's also, I think, part of the scandal. I mean, of course, there's just the cheating, but you know.
I found the YouTube guy for you.
Also the cheating, yeah.
The YouTube guy for you, Emeka, he's saying the headline says, deserves a Medal of Honor.
Oh my God.
Send that to me.
I'm guessing he's self-pres social.
Probably, yeah.
Given like he's like a financial minister kind of guy who does like investigate. It sounds like kind of like a IRS-y kind of financial investigatory thing. He seems like a 9.
Maybe it's just a 9 magic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I would love to know more about what his seduction style is and what the appeal is.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean,
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I hear you about that the women are enjoying themselves, but like, unless they're like, you know, they don't probably know how he is, and you know, until they experience him. And so, what is his? How is he approaching things? Even with all the respect and that a government position would have, like, what is it about this guy?
Well, because like these are all people that are in his life in some kind of way. So like these are his sister's friends. Okay, so that means he met them at least once. And so just imagine like what that. Oh, hi, how are you doing? And so at some point he makes the contact and continues conversation, and it leads to them fucking in his office. So like that kind of like, you have to have some level of charm and charisma to be able to do that. Just like your entire
trust.
Life. Yeah.
They also have to be filmed. You know, it's not just like a thing. It's like trust him to the point where they're having an affair and then allowing this guy to film it.
Yep.
To have proof.
Like,
yeah.
Like,
because they're looking at the camera too.
Yeah,
like,
right.
That's what I'm like. What are you saying to them to get them to say yes to this?
Here's what it is. He's saying, I want to film this because I'm going to get off to this later.
Oh yeah.
That's how into you I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think there's... I do think... Did you say I'll teach you guys?
Yeah.
Taking notes.
Okay. Anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do think that there's a there's got to be a really strong kind of social game in this around making somebody feel so comfortable. Yeah, to somebody's, I can't remember who said it, making somebody feel so comfortable to the point where they can be full on knowing that they're having an affair, but also feel safe enough to be able to have it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like clearly they didn't feel like he was going to come after them.
No.
You know, or use this as like, maybe we just don't know, but it doesn't seem to sound like this was just like leverage or something. It
like
just seemed like a
manipulation
keepsake.
on steroids.
Yeah.
Beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he's married
like
5 kids.
To the point that these women had to feel safe, they had to feel special, right? Like it wasn't just it wasn't just I'm gonna make you feel so good, you know, kind of a thing. It couldn't have been, because that's a lot of trust.
So much trust. That's intimate too. Both looking at the camera, like that's emotionally. It seems like I don't know.
No.
There seems to be an emotional component, even if it's not like being kept for long term or whatever.
The sex was intimate. That's one thing I thought was that was impressive about it to me, is that, you know, they have a connection.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's not just fucking. Like, he's talking to them, eye contact, and just like, I'm like, this. I'm sure on some level, not to say that they would watch this and be like, oh wow, I want that, but like, it's more than just fucking. Like he's like there has to be
connected to them.
Connected to them, sexual charisma, like all of it. There, it's pleasure. It's also, I mean, it's like not many people get to have that kind of sex ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's very attachment type E. Also, just the soup of all these people that he knows.
Yeah,
just
it's really messy.
Yeah.
But no, I've been waiting for little breadcrumbs as the investigation continues of like what's the deal, it's sort of an intriguing story.
Yeah,
like
crazy.
what's his deal? I just want to hear like what's it like to hear him talk? Like what's the magic that he's got?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to know that too. When did this all come out?
This was like in the last couple weeks.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Juicy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's my juicy story of the month.
Yeah, well, I'm actually glad that it's this one and not the horrible disaster that is the Diddy story. That is nothing good coming.
There's
from
nothing
that at all.
alluring about that. It's just taking
nothing
people's...
alluring. Yeah, it's just dark. Yeah, I actually don't even want to talk about it. Let's move on.
The last I heard about that one was that he was lacing the baby oil with ketamine.
Something.
Oh
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. It's been there's been like a few different some people are saying liquid cocaine, some people are saying GHB, some people are saying ketamine. But clearly it's not just like used as
pleasure.
like it's but it's all the baby oil is also not just being used as like a lubricant. It's drugs, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like a carrier for
that
drugs.
story, yeah.
That one's pretty dark. That one doesn't feel good.
That one does not feel good. No. The only thing I have to say is that the word freak off is the most pathetically DJ thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, there was a while when you guys did the video on Diddy, I was like, is DJ really right? Like that, there's something seems too light about it. But then he fucking named this shit Freakoffs. And I'm like, no, that's a DJ. That's the douchiest thing I've ever heard.
He's wild. Diddy is a wild boy. That's.
Have you seen those clips? There's clips like him on Arsenio Hall, next to Tyson, and he's touching Mike Tyson's hand.
Yeah,
like flirting with him.
It's funny
pulls
how
his hand away. Man,
how all these like interview clips of like when there's a sexual scandal and it recontextualizes weird things that you've seen about that celebrity before, and so now all these interview clips of Diddy where he's describing these parties and it's weird, but you don't really know the extent of what that weirdness is referring to. But
in the open, the way he describes stuff,
right?
It's like
yeah.
It's wild to me, like I don't know. Like he was such a public figure and it impacted so many people in such a profoundly negative way. It's just like basically untouchable forever. Epstein, same way. And then this just like the crossover of sexual energy and narcissism. Like in the case that, like I don't know. I'm not a scholar on Diddy like Alexandra, but
I can start chapter 1.
But Alexander's just been diving into all these
in. It's crazy.
Yeah, so I don't know. Who knew that the hip hop world is going to be my niche?
Yeah. She'd be like, all right, so this is what happened with Kendrick when he released this track. All right. But
you slid in on the baby oil.
Oh, David.
But like there, like with self-present narcissism, it's like Elon Musk getting insanely rich or something like this, or social narcissism is like just that like clawing up fame. The sexual narcissism is interesting because I don't know about this. It doesn't seem like it in this. Well, let me rephrase it. So in the Diddy case, there's obviously like a sadistic causing people pain and suffering and almost like permanently leaving his mark on people in the most awful way possible.
Yeah.
And in this African guy's case, like, he is it doesn't sound like the women. It seems like the women themselves had a good time and enjoyed it and stuff like this. But it's like he's hurting his friends. You know, he's hurting all these people that like that it's like a. Maybe it's like, you know, talking about weird 9 stuff. It's like a weird underground power grab thing over like his pastor, his pastor's wife, his uncle's wife, security guard, the people who protect you. You know, like your sister's friends. You know, it's like
15 of them. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, you know, don't you respect your sister enough not to like get your mess in there? You know, besides his own wife.
Rage. It's like a weird rage spill.
Exactly. Exactly.
Is there something to be said there about I mean, we've said this before about sexual 9 triangulation. I don't necessarily think it's just a sexual 9 thing. I think it's just a 9 thing of just dispersed, focused attention and sort of like, I'm into this, and this person, and I'm not sure which one I really want. We've heard that before several times. But like, it feels like the 9 thing of just mass triangulation of just, I'm like, who's he really into? Like, he has been with so many people, and they all seem intimate. They all seem like he's really doesn't feel disconnected, but he's just like dispersed attention.
It's dispersed energy. It's like I'm like the aspect of 9 that's like you're in and out of earthly existence like a ghost. You're sometimes in, and you've got the option to go out and be this dispersed, see-through, ghost energy where nothing really can get pinned on you, and you know what I mean. It's sort of a certain kind of strange narcissistic freedom fueled by pent up rage and all kinds of sort of unspoken whatever negativity or something like that you're almost doing a rebellion or backlash against, but it's so undifferentiated and undefined that it can go everywhere or anywhere.
That's the shocking thing. No boundaries.
Yeah.
There's a line to 3 in it too, where it's just like, okay, I feel invisible, I feel not seen, I'm withdrawing. Okay, now everyone's gonna know. Like now I'm gonna be the most important, most well-known, most best. I'm gonna be the best.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because I know he's got some kind of important role in the government. It says he's like the nephew or something of like the president or something like this.
Yeah.
But I wonder, it's also kind of like a boring bureaucratic position, and he looks like a very boring dweeb. Like I wonder, there's this it's like a compartmentalized narcissism that maybe, knowing how conservative African culture is, that he just would think no one would risk letting this come out, yet he's gonna be the porn star on his own home videos, and he's got his own Pornhub on his own computer.
Basically,
it's like it's really interesting. This like weird compartmentalized narcissism.
It's like I think of it as the cheap way for a 9 to go to 3 is just, I'm this attractive object, and so I don't even have to do anything to be the one in the spotlight. I mean, he was doing a bunch of stuff, but in a way it was natural to him. It's not actual,
excelling.
Excelling or something like that.
The sex tape,
right.
The recording part is, I can see that being addictive. Because just hooking up with these women is one thing, but recording it and watching yourself and like getting off to yourself, having a great time with these women, I think would make it even more addictive. So you're working this regular government job where nothing interesting happens, but then you get to be this private sexual rock star, and like you could tell that he's really getting off to that. So like this was his hobby. This was his
right.
Oh man. Yeah, it's too bad that you could go to prison for fraud, but like getting your 400 sex tapes found out is like the worst thing that could ever happen to you and everyone who's involved. It's like,
I would say I don't know what kind of fraud it was, but it sounds like this was a lot more damaging, like people's homes and relationships and His job too, but who cares?
Yeah.
He's a nephew of. Did they discover actual fraud in the thing they were investigating?
I mean, nobody cares at this point. Fraud.
Yeah.
400 sex tapes, man.
Right.
This guy's not a fraud. He's for real.
It's like Bill Clinton getting his dick sucked in the Oval Office. That's all everybody cares about. I don't care if you've murdered people or whatever the fuck you've done.
Yeah, whatever.
You're getting your dick sucked in the Oval Office.
God, people are so messy. I'm people. I care about the sex tapes more than the fraud.
I mean, it's funny how it comes down to sex at the end of the day. It's all about sex.
I can't believe you're so cavalier and casual about this, Emika. My God.
Well, the thing about P. Diddy is that I think a lot of people were benefiting. Besides the Freakoffs, he was throwing the best parties in the industry. That's why people were, a lot of people were complicit because they're having a great time. Like P. Diddy parties, before the Freakoffs, people were having a great time. Like he's really good partier. And so that's an aspect of it. But also just the industry there are a lot of Hollywood sexual parties, a pipeline for young girls and models. And there's a lot of fucking that goes on in Hollywood and music industry. And so it's not that unusual. It's just, he's doing a lot of it, but it just seems like a really common thing in show business.
Wasn't the unusual part, though, that it also got into pretty serious pedophilia, kids and shit?
Well, underage kids. But that is the Epstein Island thing.
Right.
Drake has been implicated, with underage girls. But I mean, the legal age in Canada is a lot lower than the States. I think it's like 17.
Yeah, I mean, Diddy's story is just like entirely dark. His reputation was for what? Being, what's kind of interesting is I don't fucking know what Epstein's a 3-2, right?
Yeah, also.
I don't really know what he did. Yeah, Diddy's a 3. Yeah, he's a 3-wing Brother Love.
Yeah.
Right. Talk about Team Love, by the way. 3-wing 2 Brother Love. There it is. That's awful.
We just typed a 3-2. What's that guy's name, David? Minasaro?
Oh,
Bentino?
yeah.
Bentino Massaro. He's like
a cult leader.
They call him a cult leader, but he's just like you could say.
You guys should check him out. He's
I know who you're talking about.
We just did a class on him, and another 3-wing 2 who's telling people that reality is fake and they need to transcend and whatever the fuck. Yeah.
Oh, that guy drives me crazy.
I don't know who this is. I'll have to look him up.
He's another DJ 3.
I don't know. I think those need to go.
They need to go?
Those
DJ 3s are canceled.
Well, I mean, the triple positive adjacent 3 is, that's, there's not a good track record of that so far.
Okay, so you're calling for a genocide.
I didn't say that. I say maybe we should have some extra rules around them.
Yeah, let's control them.
I heard the genocide tone.
I don't know that I ever said that.
Let me see how many.
I just don't want to be around. A 3-wing 2 with a 7 fix.
There's quite a few of them, actually. Salt Bay is another 3-wing 2 with DJ 3-wing 2.
Well, he's an honorable man, though.
Matt Rife, that comedian, remember him?
Oh right, yeah.
God, terrible human being.
Yeah.
Jeremy Fragrance, Ted Bundy.
Oh, I hate that
Ted
guy.
Bundy.
Oh right, Ted Bundy. Yeah, okay. So I think I'm right. I think we need to.
Will Smith.
Will
Smith, another one.
Okay, well he's fine. He's fine.
I mean, he slapped the shit out of Chris Rock. That wasn't fine.
I think we need to.
That's fine.
We need to figure out if
I was fine with it.
if what's his name, Ebang.
Yeah.
His name is Ebang. Ebang.
If he's a DJ,
he's got a 7
9.
fix. Yeah, we got to figure out if he's a 7 fix.
I don't think this is 6 fix behavior at all.
Wait, who?
This the African dude.
Guy?
Okay. Yeah. This is not 6 fix behavior.
No, that sounds.
Ibanga. Yeah.
That is not.
Yeah, a good time fucking while making eye contact with the camera is not
Boy, did he bang.
I wonder, like, historically, like, you know, what kinds of viruses or things were, like, perpetuated by DJs. You know what I mean? Just like,
oh, yeah.
You know, like,
a DJ definitely started COVID, for sure.
There you go.
Right? Like, just trying to understand, like, things like, you know, the way things, like, spread that you wouldn't necessarily think to tie to Enneagram type. Like, how much of these things were perpetuated by certain types of people.
Yeah, chlamydia, I'm sure it was started.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
AIDS.
Oh man.
Some DJ was doing something with the monkey they were supposed to be doing. And now we have AIDS.
Then calls for genocide spread by social self-preses like Alexandra.
Yeah. Right.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say genocide.
What?
I just said
we need to do away with them. I thought you said something about gas chambers.
I know. God.
That's what I heard.
Listen, David Gray does not represent any of Alexandra Royostabell's views or outlooks.
Billy Idol's another sexual threaming too with 7 and 9 fixes.
Oh yeah.
Margot Robbie is another one.
Okay, she seems fine. What's her name? Leah Michelle is really annoying.
Who?
Leah Michelle. She's like a Broadway girl that has a terrible reputation.
What does she do?
She just has a reputation for being like a bitch. She's just like a kind of like smile in your face, really condescending, kind of like that kind of vibe.
Let's see what her stacking. Right. Oh, she's social self-pres.
Okay,
they're all like that.
They're
all like that.
See?
Never mind. That's where that comes from instead. My bad. All right. Well,
I wouldn't be surprised if that guy was Ebang was a social self-pres. I think he's probably social because that kind of charisma. You're fucking everybody you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it could be just DJ. Maybe it's just DJ.
It slides into like it seems to my vibe take on this is that it seems to kind of slide into some kind of social sexual territory. There's got to be something super like I'm going to laugh with you and we're, together kind of thing. I do think he's probably self-pres social, but I wonder if there's like a 2-1 somewhere in his zones or something like that. Something to make people feel really like
it could be 2-1 social
together.
And 2-3 sexual.
Yeah.
2-3 sexual sounds right. Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, yeah.
We're going to have Ebang on as the 5th host of the Big Hormone Podcast.
If I can get him on here, I will make it happen. If it's possible. I want to interview him and find out the magic. What is the magic? He's 54. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. See?
It's impressive.
Good for him.
Sexual prowess.
Sorry about the fraud. And all the social fallout you're experiencing now for all your bad choices.
We can get to that later. Let's just focus
job on your game.
Good job on your game. We can. Why do we need to focus on the negative? Let's focus on the positive.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. All right, Emika.
Yeah. There's
why do we have to focus on the negative?
Yeah.
7-wing.
Explaining why we're 7s.
Oh man.
I like how in that guy's rant about us or about me or whatever, he was like disparaging that
we have a good time. We're jovial. We're jovial hosts. We actually have friends and laugh with each other. But also, he said something about he tried to do the thing where I'm like, he thinks everybody's a 9, including his social self-pres 9 girlfriend, who he's always praising and whatever, like saying positive shit about. Like, is it I don't know. It was just, the argument was breaking down.
Yeah, nobody would praise their girlfriend, right?
He also called you guys celebrities, which is so
that's pretty fun.
Not an 8 move,
Yeah. Dude, if you don't have friends and you don't have any happiness in your life, just say that.
Yeah.
Just
the context for the listeners is that I found a Reddit post of some guys saying we need to take a look at all the experts and their self-typing, and then named John as being an incorrect self-typer, and then typed John as a 4-wing 6. 4-wing 6? Oh, what did I say? 4-wing 3 with a 7-wing and a 1 fix, and then said he could even be a 7-wing 6 core, which is amazing.
Yeah.
John went on to refer to the podcast as celebrities.
I want to thank idiots on Reddit for helping me come to my accurate typing.
And to your greatness. Yeah.
I made the mistake of looking at Reddit for a couple of days, and my God, it's such a mess.
It is
It's
so
a
dumb.
cesspool. It's really bad. Yeah.
Oh man.
No, the other one that John was referring to, I think, is the person who said that we, because the hosts of this podcast are so jovial, that how can we be 458 whatever?
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're a depressed piece of shit who scams shelters, who hasn't laughed a day in your life, just say that.
Yeah.
Around your friends, you're just gonna be like real edgy and sad.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Just real bleak.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Just trying to out-bleak one another.
Yeah, right. We do that for one episode, and people were like, "Delete."
Oh yeah.
Delete it.
Okay.
You don't really want to hear what I think.
What happened?
You don't really want to hear what I think. Okay.
Alexandra, you have a different version of that story?
Let's just move on. Oh, man.
I feel like we've come a long way in terms of we were very social blind in the first few years of doing the Enneagram. Like, you're just not even realizing what can upset people.
Right. Yeah.
And now Alexandra gives us high marks for our social abilities. All 3-star social.
She gives us real time eye rolls and scoffs.
Yeah, I'm still a 9. I'm not really like, you guys are still pretty unfiltered. I'm just very quiet when you guys do it now.
So do you guys have any interesting things to share?
I haven't really been taking much stuff in. Not besides all the Diddy stuff. But, I'll start a 12-part series on the psychological breakdown of Sean Diddy Combs' brother Love.
People would eat it up for sure.
But no.
There's a certain way that, like, let's see how to put this. Like, I feel really less shocked by things, maybe it's especially knowing the Enneagram or whatever. Like, I know that I was like, whoa, this guy, I can't believe he got all these women or whatever. But like, my YouTube algorithm has been feeding me like, just, like murders and crimes and weird shit lately. And it's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how to put it, but it's like just not mysterious,
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I guess it's like what had created mystery was the kind of image that like the world or society or human beings like put up for one another. Like, whether it's like just the image that the lens we're wanting to like see ourselves through as a collective, or the lens that's necessary to adapt in order to like actually create an attachment.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, Alexander and I were watching that couples therapy show today, and there's this couple, and both seem like 9s, and both of them experienced violence from their fathers. And the woman of the couple, her father was really violent toward her mother, and it has a big impact on her today. And they're still really involved in this father's life. And so the boyfriend of the couple has gotten really attached to the girlfriend's abusive father. And it has been really, really, she feels not believed and seen by her boyfriend because her boyfriend seems to refuse to acknowledge the impact. And even during one of the therapy sessions where she kind of really communicated some of the emotional effect of the abuse, apparently right after, he called, like off screen or whatever, between sessions, he called the father like 3 times, and just to like hang out and chum up with him, to reinforce the connection.
Yeah.
And what they got to is that he is seeking a father figure, and if he was to acknowledge the abuse, and reconcile that he's a good guy in the sense likable, and then also this abusive person that's really hurt his girlfriend psychologically, it would undermine his attachment, and would also make him have to confront that he was abused by his own father, which would undermine his attachment to his own father. And so he's become this like really shut down person to just to kind of maintain those
attachments.
That's a major betrayal.
Attachments.
Yeah, major betrayal.
Yeah, and so anyway, like that kind of how do I put it? Like, and I'm not trying to like blame attachment types or anything like that. I think we all do this, but it's like there's like a world we want to live in, and then there's a world we live in, and there's a huge gap between it, and it's like a constant tension, and it just blows up in like like a pimple, you know, like in these weird ways. So like even this like Ebang guy, like, you know, he's respectable government official in a sort of boring job, but he's also like fucking his, you know, all the people that he's close with, his wife, you know, and like he's getting them involved to betray, you know, and it's like it's this is weird, like a weird narcissistic rage thing happening under the surface all the time.
But
you know,
but here's the other piece. I think part of what you're alluding to, it's an imprecise word when we were having the what was it, the object relations episodes. It's like a fantastical nostalgia. It's a nostalgia for something that isn't even real relative to the parents, and it's like swirling around. It's swirling the definitions of what actually happened and not naming things, and sort of wanting familial, you know, almost quasi psychosexual Freudian connection, you know, and it's just this soupy mess of delusional nostalgia or something.
Yeah, what I've noticed in myself, I don't detect this kind of nostalgia, but I think the way I like detect something similar in myself is I recognize that a lot of my emotional expression when I'm really not doing well, it like, you know, we talk about all this like depression and all this kind of stuff I've been exploring, like there's like a major emotional imprinting or template in me coming from like, you know, stuff in my family. You know what I'm saying? Like that feels like it's not mine, but it like lives in me in a certain way. And, you know, I'm a type that has a lot of, as like a triple hexad, like does have a lot of, that's not me, that's not my, but I can't imagine if I was a type that was more open, like on all levels, and didn't have just the reflexive, like, you know, separation reflex, you know, all that sense of just enmeshedness and connectedness to something you didn't choose that was often really like toxic to you. Like you don't almost have a choice, and to like make yourself kind of okay with it. And you know, I was just thinking like the Gaza situation, like the genocide, like really is just, I don't know. I have a hard time like not having it on my front of my mind all the time. And I'm like, how do people just like walk around like, you know, whatever, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And you know, I think people just have to like, people are just trying to make themselves like okay, like soothe themselves basically all the time.
Self-soothing. And when I say nostalgia, I don't mean it's conscious whatsoever. It's like super. It's like doubly unconscious almost. You know, it's like pulling them into just misperceptions just so there'll be an attachment.
I mean, and then to like, you know, and again, like to discover who and what you are outside of those patternings. I mean, is just a huge and probably like very fear and anxiety provoking experience. So I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so like looking at all these like weird, fucked up shit things people do, it's like, I don't know. It's just not surprising.
That's one thing that I don't know who I was having this conversation with, of coming into the Enneagram, of just having a lot of curiosity about people, because especially as a social blind, I don't know why people are doing what they're doing. And then you learn about these types, and then it's one lens. There's a whole bunch of lenses, but you know, the way people grow up. But then it's not a surprise anymore, I suppose. Like You know, when you think about like how does a Hitler happen? Like how does that take place that many people are like, yeah, we're gonna do this thing. But then you learn about attachment types and you learn about like how prevalent that is, and you learn how people can project their hopes and dreams or self-soothe and just go along with lots of crazy stuff. And you're thinking, oh, it's still happening now. Like we're all sort of, even just the parasocial thing that we talked about a few years ago, of how we're just sort of like these virtual life obsessions that people might have, and just learning about attachment. And then so these things don't seem so crazy anymore. Like how does a Ted Bundy happen? Why would someone just get in somebody's car? And yeah, so it's not so mysterious anymore once you realize like these lenses and how ubiquitous they can be.
It is really crazy how like you know, we're very sensitive like animals, and yet like our like almost all of our technology, for example, grew out of finding ways to either kill people or defend against people trying to kill us. You know what I'm saying? Like just how incredibly like violent and destructive humans are toward one another. And like I don't know what that is. You know, like why it's so dangerous to be a human among other humans.
Right. Why people trying to
really
kill so
strange.
much.
What do you think, Alexandra?
I mean, nothing in particular. It's I mean, to Emika's point, things not. It's interesting you say that because even today, while I was talking about, was listening to like some true crime thing this morning about some like freaky pastor that was like very abusive to his wife, and I don't know, just like a kind of a sexual creep with a bunch of people. And I found myself trying to like sum up the story to John really fast because he was asking me what I was listening to. And I found myself saying, you know, same story, like the same sexual creepiness where it's just like, okay, the head of a pastor who is just like preaching all of this like inspiration and love, and like it's just so much uplifting energy, but then it had such a thick shadow underneath. It's like, yeah, that's the same thing that happens every single time with this, like, you know, the whole brother love thing back to P. Diddy has the same thing where it's this like expansion of positive energy. And even to John, to what you were saying to that guy, that boyfriend in the couples therapy show. Yeah, I do think it's some attachment, but I think it's the shadow of like being outside of a positive lens that is like scaring him out of being able to own reality, you know, and like, anyway, so it's just that even the Ted Bundy, there's like an overlap in all of this where things need to be, I can't remember who said this, but there's like the reality and then what we want reality to be. And I think a lot of the drives of these people are just like, I can't accept reality, so I need to make it into what I want it to be, and just like at any cost, at the cost of anything else. I think that showed up with P. Diddy, this pastor guy, with Ted Bundy, like anybody you can think of. It's just an unwillingness to just bear Gaza, right? To bear like the realities of right now. And so we have to just replace it with something that feels better. This like sexual guy from Africa probably has a hard time accepting that his life is just like mediocre and boring. So he's got to create this underground thrill for himself.
It's really weird to me with a lot of the like the sexual stuff, because like, let's see how to put it, is like on one hand people are like pretty horny and non-discriminatory about who they sleep with, and on the other hand there's all this kind of like weird coercion that seems to happen also, and it's like as obnoxious as people who talk about polyamory a lot are, at least it's like giving a category where people can just like do that and not have it to be like a weird thing where you're like you're like maintaining like a socially acceptable facade, and then, you know, acting like sex is not what you're motivated by, and then on the back end, like, manipulating people. Like I was listening to an interview of somebody who was in that Christian like pedophilic sex cult called the Family International or the Children of God.
I gotta watch that. I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh God, and they would make these like comics to like, you know, for like the preteens to be like, you should be able to have sex and have children and be married as soon as your fit body is capable because this is how God made you. And yeah, really bizarre stuff. And it's like, man, what? Like, I don't know what is like.
Well,
beside.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't know. Like, I mean, like there's the pedophilic aspect, which is like, you know, horrifying and whatever. But like, you could easily just make a cult where there's a bunch of adults that just want to have sex with each other, and you know, like let those adults do that. Why? Like, what is the extra? Like, gotta ruin something. You know, gotta violate. You know, like, I don't know. People are so non-discriminatory. I don't understand it.
I feel like when you have people that get a lot of power and have a lot of wealth, fucking a consenting adult is boring. Like once you've bought everything you want to buy, like once just rich people start doing weird shit, and it's really about power. Like if I can buy anything I want, then making other people do what I want, even if they don't want to do it, is the next. And so it's like, what's sexually, what is the thing that you can't do other than fucking children?
Jesus.
And so it's like the final, it's like if I'm on top, if I'm at the top of the food chain, I can buy anything I want. I could probably murder someone and get away with it because I have the best lawyers. Sexually, what is the thing that's most forbidden?
I wonder if it's like some people are like, I'm gonna go to space, or I'm gonna climb Everest, or I'm gonna make the most beautiful painting, or like I wonder if there's like, you know, in the Gurdjieffian sensibility, there's like sex energy, right? And like talks about the distortion of sex energy leaking into the other centers, and I wonder if it's like that kind of a thing where it's just like I need to get mostness or beyondness or something, and then that can turn into a power thing or a domination thing. Or
one thing this takes me to is the Sumerian cosmology, creation myths, wherein human beings, I'm skipping a big chunk of the story, but human beings were made from the sum total of all of the devils and all of evil. And so from that, one of the things that we should do or ought to do is realize that we are a monster and then channel that energy into some kind of that, because it's partly life force energy, right? It's just that red devil life force energy, and channel it into something of excellence or creativity or whatever, and certainly to recognize that you are a monster. And what a lot of these people were talking about, they're not recognizing that they are a monster, and so they're doing monstrous things, because when you do recognize you're a monster and then have a channel for that energy, a sword that you can do something with, then that's the proper usage of that energy. And then you actually don't have to be a monster, because you can just put your hand on your sword, and you know what I mean, and just the threat is there, and you're actually in control of it, because you are a monster. You're not the sunshine good person, right? Yeah, and you're not doing that farce.
Well, it feels like it seems like the people who make a lot of money, you really find out who they are, because you can do whatever you want at that point. Like sometimes people don't realize, it feels like you might not even know who you really are until you start to get to a point where you're living without limits. So just imagine what it would be like to be someone who has $1 billion, who can do anything. Like what happens at that point? When you know that you can do whatever you want, and you're surrounded by other people who can do whatever they want. And so it kind of creates a warped reality where people's personalities and shadows are playing out to an extreme level. Maybe this person had like a weird fantasy about fucking, children, and it just gets compartmentalized. But then when you become this multi-billionaire and you're hanging out with other multi-billionaires and they're trucking these people into this island, you get to live out your deepest shadows at that point.
Well, like, all right, like, just as an example, Alexandra, didn't one time, like, did he do something awful to somebody and then had, like, called his mom and had his mom plead with whoever the victim was not to, like, expose him or something?
Yeah, that was one of the stories came out recently. This woman was like detailing her experience. She was like at a bar with some friend, and the friend had Diddy on FaceTime, and she insulted Diddy, which was his motivation to like, okay, I'm gonna go get her. And then way later, the assault happens, and afterwards, yeah, he tries to pay her off by saying like, you're gonna tell people that you were hired. And she kind of put her foot down. He like freaked out. Yeah, like I can't remember all the details. But yeah, he called her mom. He called his own mom and had the mom talk to her over FaceTime and is like, don't ruin my son's life, blah, blah, blah. Like just comply. Yeah.
It's
Very
like
odd energy.
going from God, like I'm this God-like transcending creep to my mommy, please don't hurt my mommy. My mommy needs to protect me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like really
Yeah, I mean,
weird.
It's interesting too, though, because from an attachment place, like the positive gaze of your parent, especially for 3, right? The positive gaze of your parents is like the thing you're wanting. And he seems like he has that in folds with his mom. And so what if that's the thing causing him to expand even more? Like my mom is co-signing and defending me in all of these different things.
With 3, it's more mother, like 6 is father, 3 is mother.
Yeah. Something I was going to say with regard to all of this, and it's just going to come out in pieces, is like, I think what happens in a lot of these cases, and obviously I'm not like a psychoanalyst or anything like that, but just speaking from like the place of sexuality and like the sexual instinct is constantly reaching for renewal, whether like there's attraction in people, but you're kind of always trying to just like find the new edge in yourself, find the transformation in yourself. And because it seems like a lot of society doesn't have I don't know, like I don't think people are naturally taught that. And so I think what happens is people are really just reaching for some new edge, and they don't know how to own the fact that they need some new edge also.
Shadow sexual
to sacrifice like the story that you have about yourself for where your sexuality is leading you, I think is what causes the like sort of inward divorce. Like these are not sexually embodied people, right? Diddy is not a sexually embodied person. And then to the point of like money giving you all of this access and stuff like that, I think even that, having all of this money where you're basically not in need of anything, even that causes a lack of edge. Like what now? What can you work for now? And so now you have to just kind of subvert yourself, because not that you have to, because there's plenty of rich people that don't do this. But like, I imagine that's part, I mean, it seems like he was doing it for a long time, but I can see that being part of the landscape for a lot of these like very rich people that engage in such fucked up behavior. It's like, what are you going to do? They're at this point, they're too scared to let go of all their money and actually transform in a different way. You know what I mean? Like it would take a sort of external push for them to reach a new transformation that would allow them to not, I don't know, even be open to this kind of stuff. And I want to say also, just like as a kind of disclaimer thing, we're speaking about this like really casually, but like obviously this is not normal at all. These people that we're talking about, it's just not normal behavior. So we're not saying this just like happens when you don't sexually renew yourself.
Right. No. This is fucked up. But like a less fucked up version of this is I was watching this documentary about cults, and like that was the last couple of years, talking about this recent trend in the last 5 years or so of people seeking out spirituality. And so there's been especially on the West Coast, just a resurgence, I guess. I don't know if it's ever gone away, but it seems like online anyway, it's been big. So this documentary was focused on some festivals, and I'm sure you guys have heard of Shaman Durek. It's this guy who's gotten really famous the last few years, and so it's a lot of rich people, a lot of privileged people. I mean, LA and California is really expensive, and people who are paying for these festivals and workshops, and like this guy was I think it's 900 pounds per hour to do a session with him. And
Jeez.
I was watching it, and it's just a lot of breath work, which with speaking in tongues and just, weird mystical shit to unlock. This woman was seeking him out to help him, or to get some help with her romantic life, and he helped her unlock something throughout the session with all the weird shit that they were doing. And it's like these people that basically, like you said, have already gotten their basic needs met.
Mhm.
And now it's like, well, most of us are on a treadmill to just survive. But when you're not surviving, like, you want to become your best self. And so you have to find some new edge. So you either go to some shaman or go to some retreat, and some personal development Tony Robbins guy is going to tell you how to do my exercises and you can transcend and become your best self. Or you take some weird substance, or you speak in tongues with some shaman and get into a trance, or you get on Epstein's Island, you start fucking some kids.
God. Yeah, that's crazy. I do think, let's see how I want to say this. I think that people are trying to actualize themselves. I don't think consciously. I think things would be a lot cleaner and more direct, and maybe more productive if people were trying to do it consciously. But it's like a thing where like your psychology just never gets away from you. The like inner demons that you have just never get away from you. Diddy seems like a person that's just never going to be in therapy in his whole life. And so like he has created the landscape around him to where he has to like contend with his inner, like I think there is a way that he is like trying to push his inner world into an external place so that he can, and of course this is not conscious, but now he's in jail eating slop, probably never going to see the light of day again. Like there is some kind of subconscious part of him that needed to like realize this stuff. And if it's not conscious, you're going to just fuck your life up. And so the same thing with these, like, it's great. Hopefully don't listen to a shaman that like, I don't know, takes you to like a weird place, but yeah, confront your take a bunch of mushrooms and like think you're gonna die. Not that has happened to anybody here recently.
Not to change the topic, but do you still take mushrooms a little bit, Dick or John?
I haven't been, because we went to Puerto Rico and hung out with her grandparents, and then we went to Florida last weekend. Because we can't afford to go during Thanksgiving, so I've been around family time and haven't had personal zone vortex time. But,
I've been doing like very small amounts every few days, just as an experiment for the last month. It works for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try it too.
I'm not like, I dip back into my place or whatever, but it's been like, I've been a lot better. And I don't know if somebody, I don't want to say their name because I don't know how they, whatever, but a listener sent me a bunch of stuff after that pod. And and I haven't used it yet because I've just been so busy, but I was very appreciative of that and really kind to that person. So thank you if you're listening.
That's great. No, I've been taking like 0.1, which isn't very much. It's not to feel anything, but especially at this time of year, I start to experience the sort of winter depression. And so there was a week where I felt like, why do I feel like shit for no reason? Of course, it was getting dark again. And so I started that just to see what would happen. And I definitely noticed. I don't think it's placebo. I think it does actually do. We experience it after the zones. Like, we do feel better for like a week. Mm-hmm. It's partially because of that.
It's got to be like biochemically difficult to be a withdrawn, social blind, shut-in, and black, because your skin needs so much more vitamin D.
Yeah, no,
I'm okay because I have no melanin.
Like that was a huge unlock for me. I think I started 2014 going to these tanning salons. Of course, it's always strange when I walk into a tanning salon because of why the fuck are you here? I don't explain myself. I'm just like, get me 10 minutes at level 1, thank you. And
do you still go? How often do you still do it?
Oh yeah, I have to. Like,
wow, that's so funny.
Just pretend like you have a great tan.
Your 5 picks is so funny. It just like comes to these like very specific practices, and you're like, gotta do it. Gotta do it. It works.
And the thing that helps is around this time of year, I have to go more, because usually in the summer I can walk outside and get some more sun, and that's a big deal. Like in how much it regulates my mood and overall well-being. So I've been going twice a week. In addition with this mushroom thing, like this is the best I felt at this time of year. Usually I don't feel good in November.
That's good. Okay, do you wear those like tanning sunglasses, like those little tiny things?
I have them.
You're just like you're like on mushrooms with the.
And recently this tanning salon the one I go to, they have a red light. It's pretty new, but like not a lot of places have them, and so I asked them. The red light,
it's a different
therapy.
set of rays, isn't it?
The LED? No.
The LED
I know
one,
what you're talking about. It's
yeah.
really good for your skin.
It's really good for your skin. A lot of things. And I did 4 sessions. It's like this huge red thing, and you sit on it, and it's like head to toe covering you in red rays.
That sounds awesome.
Like, yeah, it is really cool. But no, I don't give a fuck. Like I remember the first time I went, I was kind of like, I wonder what they think. I don't care. I've been doing this since 2014.
And red is specifically the color that counteracts the seasonal thing.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I have on my desk, I have one of these 300 watt incandescent light bulbs. You have to look for it online because incandescent light bulbs are kind of not illegal, but they don't sell them anymore. Like most light bulbs are LED now, which isn't good for you. So you can get a lot of red light from just the old school light bulbs, and in the winter, you need something that replicates what the sun is doing. And so I have like a 300 watt. They call it a chicken light, because when they raise chickens or reptiles, they like shine that kind of light on them so they can.
Right, yeah.
And so I have one on my desk, and in the morning. Yeah, like I have one that I turn it on in the morning so that I can feel like the sun's coming up.
Part of the Illuminati control of all of us is to make our computer screens blue instead of red in the background. That's how they keep us down.
Yeah, that's why you wear the blue light blockers or those red glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the fluoride is gonna solve all of our problems or whatever.
Yeah. No, that definitely helps. Getting sun.
Self-pres experiments and discoveries.
I'm always trying new things.
There's I'll find the account, but there's like a supplement guy who's kind of a douchebag. Like he's
a lot of.
Yeah, I mean, he's like cool, but kind of a douche also. Like a lot of the way that he tries to get more traction is just like, oh, this will make you harder in bed or stuff like that. And like that kind of stuff is like a lot. He posts a lot about that. But every now and then it's like good stuff. Like a lot of people just like healing their depression by starting to take magnesium glycinate, I think it is, or something like that.
That sounds
so anyway,
familiar.
I'll find that and that guy and send it to you.
Relatively warm for this time of year, so
yeah.
I'll take it. I love global warming because it's making Chicago a much more comfortable place to be. Winters are very mild, so fuck all the people that are dying elsewhere. I'm having a great time in Chicago.
Yeah,
because of global warming. I don't want the word to get out about how nice it is here, because the winters were a strong reason to not want to live here. It is very nice.
Yeah, it wasn't like I think it was like 2015, or maybe it was earlier than that or something like that. But there was a winter that got so cold people were freezing to death outside.
Yeah. It's bad.
It's terrifying.
Like we've had some like ridiculous winters. I mean, even before then, when I was in high school, the winters were just consistently terrible. Like just
so global warming,
Yikes.
Cool. Politicians sleeping around, cool.
Yep.
There's more, I'm sure.
Gotta see the silver lining in things, man.
Sleeping around politicians in.
Yeah.
Gotta look at the positive side of things, guys. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Enneagram out.
Gotta look for the silver lining.
Yeah, this is a pro global warming podcast
gloom.
now. Yeah. How is DA going?
We just we wrapped up the zone stems, like doing deep dives, which was really cool.
Yeah,
just doing each
stuff.
one kind of like animates things that we hadn't seen about it. So we wrapped that up, and we've just been typing freaks, since then.
Okay, cool.
Which is what we always do, This year has been great because even though it's been slow, like it's been sort of like, all right, cool. Like there's not a whole lot going on, so let's just kind of like baseline creativity and getting into our own. This is what we're interested in doing, and so it's been nice to just, I guess when there's not a whole lot going on, you sort of like revert to your own sort of baseline interests, and that's been cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I kind of fell off for a little bit. I'll get back into it when the zone. Yeah, the first like spurt of the zones coming out. Just.
No, the classes have been fun.
The recent ones have been really good, actually.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just finding freaky examples or funny examples of them. That's been fun.
Now we have a 2-1 social president.
Oh yeah,
it's about to be a
Trump's
a
my
wild
boy.
4 years. He's back on Twitter. I mean, I think we're all a little bit less. When he was president in 2016, that was a wild time. It felt
that was
like
crazy.
It felt like this is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this. All right, now the freak show that is America, we've seen that, and so like how do you top the first season of a Trump presidency? I don't really know if it's going to be any surprise anymore. So I'm not. People are having hysteria, but I'm just like, I mean, you've seen season 1. This is just more of the same. Like,
jeez. Well, I hope he's still funny at least.
There you go.
I think it's going to get worse, but hopefully he's still funny. I heard that I can't remember. I listened to some podcast yesterday and realized that he was calling Kamala Harris Kamabla. That's just all he would call her. Come on. And I think that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. And calling Biden like just Sleepy Joe the whole time was just so funny.
I think it will be. I saw him pop up the couple weeks before the election, or maybe even the week of the election, doing like all these long form podcasts, and I'm like, you've got it. Like this is some 2-1 social where he's just everywhere,
yap,
just yapping. I mean, which is great for getting to younger people because that's most of the people who are paying attention to the podcast. But I was like,
there's a video collage that's like making fun of Trump that is really funny called like the Phantom of Mar-a-Lago, and it's this really long kind of nonlinear thing just full of like just the Mar-a-Lago place and all the idiots around him, and what a like fucking frumpy loser Trump is, and all these people. But what's really funny is there's like these like clips of all these different right wing guys like asking like, how are you so strong, sir? And like, how is your family? And how much do you love America? And like, like they're all kind of like these sort of dick riding kind of questions that are just super flattering. And he's like just not interested. Like he's like, oh, I don't. But then, as the clips go on, they're like, oh, this book, Letters to Trump. There's all these famous people and politicians wrote you letters, and it's a book you're publishing. And he's like, then he gets animated because he's talking about how there's a letter in there from Andrew Lloyd Webber who lived in his building, and he had a show, a new show he was debuting, and it was the Phantom of the Opera. And I thought, maybe Donald, you should come see it. Maybe it's good. And Donald Trump loves Phantom of the Opera, and he's just like gets into it, and he's like just the way he's so passionate about it. He's like, it's a fantastic musical, and it's just like so Queenie, and so like all these right wing guys like see Trump as so masculine,
right? And
it's just like he's this effete little like ooh, I'm gonna go to a Broadway show, and it's gonna be Phantom of the Opera, and it's gonna be wonderful. And like I have special front row seat tickets to Phantom of the Opera, special little box seat. I mean, it's so funny.
Yeah, so funny.
Give me mata. 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 Give me mata.